this is news just coming in of a very major development. Pakistan using drones to drop weapons into Jammu and Kashmir. This has taken place in an area called Zard Sohal, 7 kilometers west of Akhnoor. These are the weapons which have actually been dropped. They include 2 AK-47s, 3 magazines. For these AK-47s, 90 rounds of bullets and 1 pistol as well. This is a huge development and represents a new threat. We had heard of this taking place some time back in Punjab, but this threat has now moved further to the north in Jammu. This has been discovered as a result of an operation jointly led by the police and the army. It was a police-led operation. The army was a part of it. And according to my sources, Pakistan resorting to desperate measures to dump weapons across the LoC based on specific inputs that some weapons were airdropped by a Pakistani drone in a village at night. Jammu and Kashmir police seized 2 AK assault rifles, 1 pistol, 3 AK magazines and 90 rounds from this village, Zard Sohal, which is, as I mentioned, 7 kilometers away from Akhnoor itself. Now, this is important in the sense that these drones are very difficult to intercept. They can hardly be detected. And to get about the infrastructure required to actually intercept drones after you actually detect them over a frontier which is several hundred kilometers long is very difficult indeed. In fact, at night, you can actually hear the drones. You can hardly see them. But in this particular instance, there was a perception of drones operating in a particular area. The police actually got involved over there along with the army. So this is being looked at fairly high levels now in the army. The BSF, which is also responsible for security in parts of Jammu, and the army, the BSF and the police to try and negotiate this threat. Now, just a couple of days back, much further north in Kashmir, we reported a story, did my colleague Nazir Masoodi, on how the army had busted several areas which were stashes or godowns for weaponry which was attempted to being brought across the line of control or was being stored by terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir. And by doing so, the availability of weaponry to terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir had been brought down significantly. Now, this is an indicator of how terrorists are using other means to try and get weaponry across. And it's a new type of threat because unless interceptions actually take place of this, it would represent a very serious threat indeed. And again, this is not typically something which the Air Force can intercept using existing technology. The process of detecting very low flying drones, jamming them if required, or intercepting them with guns or missiles is something which would require a great deal of preparation. Now, there is a concern about drones which exist in Indian Air Force air bases, and there are defenses over there which have been prepared. But if you look at the area that we are talking about, several hundred kilometers, then dropping weapons by drones across the line of control is a very major concern. Nazir Masoodi joins us with more details. So Nazir, this took place in a village 7 kilometers west of Akhnoor called Zard Sohal, a police-led operation, the army also closely involved. What are you hearing?
Well, Vishnu, there have been several instances of, weapon smuggling and using drones to airdrop weapons in Jammu and Kashmir, be it Akhnoor, be it Kutwa, be it Samba sector, Rajouri, Poonch, and also in Uri, reportedly in Uri as well. Like 2 weeks back, we have reported how arms being smuggled and how army has, recovered large number of weapons, arms and ammunition near the line of control, and also Jammu and Kashmir police also recently, just 3-4 days back, in Poonch sector as well. So Pakistan has been trying to send more weapons inside the valley, and we have seen a pattern. Earlier, weapons were being smuggled from the valley outside Kashmir. Now, weapons are coming from Jammu side to the valley. Recently, a truck was seized along Srinagar-Jammu highway, which was coming from, Jammu. Weapons were, loaded in the truck in Samba area, and that was captured along Srinagar-Jammu highway near Banihal. So there have been consistent efforts from Pakistan to smuggle more and more weapons into Kashmir Valley, and this is a new pattern to airdrop weapons via drones.
And are these quadcopters which are being used? Is that what the sense is?
Yeah, exactly. That's what the police and the army officials have been saying. Quadcopters are being used to airdrop these weapons near the line of control. Then their conduits they take them to their hideouts. But security forces have busted a number of hideouts, weapon hideouts, and a large number of cache of arms and ammunition have been recovered by the security forces, police and the army in the recent past.
All right, Nazir, we leave it over there. Thanks very much for joining us. So this is part of a pattern, Nazir, identifying other areas where there's been a suspicion of this taking place. But now this very important development with our senior sources indicating to us that this has been taking place now with this recovery of weapons, which they are convinced came from quadcopters, which are drones, with an ability of carrying some weight, as you can see.